Chapter 1. This is the news story that appeared the next day in the Sunday edition of the Detroit Free Press, page 1. 4 tourists die in Israeli hotel fire. Tel Aviv, March 20th, AP. A pre-dawn fire gutted an 8-story resort hotel Saturday, killing 4 tourists and injuring 46 others, including guests who leaped from upper-story windows to escape the flames. No Americans were killed, but 2 were reported injured, including an Ohio woman who jumped from a 4th-floor window. The blaze swept through the 200-room Park Hotel in Netanya, a Mediterranean resort city about 20 miles north of Tel Aviv. About 20 Americans escaped from the fire, an American embassy official said, including a tour group of 17 who arrived in Israel a week ago from Columbus, Ohio. According to a state radio report, the park's management had recently considered closing the building after receiving threats from protection racketeers who had failed to extort payments from the hotel's owners. Firemen extinguished the flames after a 7-hour battle. In a 6-column picture on the news photo page of the Free Press, several elderly tourists who had escaped the fire were gathered in a group on the street, holding blankets around hunched shoulders. It was raining, and they looked wet and cold. A dark, bearded man wearing white trousers, his chest and feet bare, stood apart from the group somewhat in the background, and seemed to have been moving away when the picture was taken. The bearded man, glancing over his shoulder, was caught in that moment with a startled, open-mouthed expression. The picture caption repeated most of the facts from the page 1 story and quoted Mr. Nathan Fine, leader of the Columbus tour group, as saying, "It's a miracle we're alive. There was somebody went up and down the halls banging on doors, getting people out, telling them to put wet towels over their heads and follow him. Crawled along the hall to the outside stairway and back. He must have saved the lives of 20 people. It was lucky, I'll tell you, those stairs were outside, or nobody would be here now." The man who had gone up and down the halls banging on doors wasn't identified by name. Outside the hotel that rainy Saturday morning, no one seemed to know who he was or where he had gone. Chapter 2. Rosen first noticed the tourist lady on Friday, the day before the fire. He saw her and said to himself, New York. She had the look. A trim 40-year-old who kept herself together, stylish in a quiet way, neatly combed dark hair and sunglasses, tailored beige sundress about a size 8 or 10, expensive cane-trimmed handbag hanging from her shoulder. Nothing overdone. No camera case, no tourist lapel badge that said, "Kiss me, I'm Jewish." Rosen, watching her walk past the cafe, liked her thin legs, her high can, and her sensible breasts. In Netanya, the main street came in from the Haifa Road, crossed railroad tracks, and passed through crowded blocks of shops and business places before reaching an open parkway of shrubs and scattered palm trees, Netanya's promenade. Beyond were the beach road and the sea. Looking down on the park were hotels and flat-faced apartment buildings. On the ground level of these buildings were shops that sold oriental rugs and jewelry to tourists, and open-air cafes with striped awnings. One of the cafes on the north side of the park was the Acapulco. There Rosen had his mid-morning coffee with hot milk, and there he was sitting when he first noticed the trim, New York-looking tourist lady. He saw her again that evening at 9:45, in a beige pantsuit and red Arab jewelry, with red earrings dangling below neatly combed dark hair. He imagined she would smell of bath powder. She pretended to be interested in looking at things, at signs, at the bill of fare on the